Hi, Aries. Sorry this is so late. It's technically the 20th, and I I did readings, multiple readings today, group readings for Libra, Taurus, um, a Scorpio, and I'm wrapping up with Aries, but I didn't want to leave you guys out because I have like five of you. So I'm doing readings this week that are weekly forecasts for anyone in the zodiac sign that I know. Um, So I have pulled your spread, and this is a reading for Aries for May 19th through the 25th. I have this big shadow here. I'm sorry because it's late at night. All I got to say, you guys, is it's going to be. I know you feel like you have a rough week ahead of you. It's going to get better, okay? And to all things, there is a season. You're really starting this new cycle off. There was a moon cycle that ended that, was part of Aries that ended with the full moon happening yesterday or Saturday. But it seems like you guys are still really at the beginning of something. This last cycle was hard. Looks like this next week to come is going to be hard too. I've got the demon turned away. We don't need any more of him, okay? Just, yeah, you're out of the picture right now. I very rarely do that, but it looks like I don't need him here because some of your demons are really present and they're really coming out. So I pull a partial Celtic cross. I don't do the last four cards because that's a longer month forecast, and I'm trying to stick to the week of the 19th through the 25th. I want to devote a lot of attention to pouring over this reading for you guys, but I do need to try and be concise. I've done a lot today, but I'm really on, and I'm glad that I got to you guys last. A lot of a lot of stuff has come through for you, so I'm going to be really attentive to you guys. So I draw this, basic situation for the week first, and then I pull from my celestial deck because I always want to hear what the universe wants to reflect back to you and what they want to know, what you want to know, and what they want you to focus on. So we're going to start there, with the planetary voices and the guides. And the first thing that came up for me from the universe is the Princess of Cups, which in this deck, the Prince or Princess is the Knight of Cups. Um, and what this card is about, it's an autumn cycle. So we're at the beginning of summer, but for you this week, you're feeling like you're really in the middle of it here, and the universe is saying, "Hey, we really see you in the middle of things here." And God, the shadow is bad. I'm sorry, and it's a lot on you right now. But this card, even though it's this autumn cycle and it's part of a death cycle, it's still so great because what this is about creativity, and it's about romance and being creative and being romantic about your own creativity. Autumn is part of a death cycle and the energy cycle, but that's good. And it'll bring new life and a new life force and a new flow. And this is about letting old things die, you guys, okay? Um, the Knight of Cups is about letting old things die, being aware of that cycle, and making way for something really creative. It's also about really letting energy flow through your heart. And it's asking you to be emotive and compassionate and passionate as well. Sometimes this card is about writing. It's often about writing poetry, writing about love, or writing about something you love. Really talking about emotions this week, the universe wants you to do, Aries, and to share that love freely and express it, and to wear your heart on your sleeve, and to let your emotions tell you what to do this week, and to envision harmony. Really envision harmony in yourself and in your heart, and trust your heart's tuition, which can be tough for Aries, you know, because you all can be really masculine and in your head. But she's really telling you in this autumn cycle, you got to go through this and really get into your heart. So that's the first message. Second message from the universe is Ace of Pentacles in reverse. I know I took a bunch of notes on this card because this is from my planetary deck, and I always look for the deeper meaning. But it's a Pentacles card. We've got Ace of Cups. That's about earth stuff, water, and emotion. And Pentacles in reverse. The universe is reflecting back to you that you feel like you have a lot of opportunities, but that this week it's telling you you need to really be careful with your planning and your foresight. This card's about a lack of planning and a lack of foresight. And it's also about hesitating and being a little afraid to move forward. And being able to move forward with a situation, any situation, especially about money, career, education. The universe really wants you to just be diligent and continue to assess your opportunities. The Ace of Pentacles in reverse, it's you have to think about what's actually feasible. Ask you, is this meant to be or not? Is this worth it? And watch for others being, what's the word? I'm hearing a lot of voices from the universe and around you saying, don't count your chickens before they hatch. And I sense that you're hitting some snags. The universe says you're hitting some snags, and that it's okay if you have to replan and rework details, but that you're hesitating and hesitating on many fronts here. Everyone's jumping in to talk to me right now, but overall, you just need to step back and breathe and don't make a snap decision about any big part of your life. Assess and plan, assess and plan, and give ample consideration to everything. And you're hesitant to move forward. Don't ignore that. The universe is saying, I know you're hesitant. That's your inner defense mechanisms kicking in. Our defense mechanisms can go overboard and be into overdrive, but the universe is reflecting this to you, Ace of Pentacles in reverse, for a reason. It's saying, acknowledge your hesitation, and, you will have to move forward, and you will. We'll get to that. But, right now it's okay to hesitate and step back and assess all the areas in your life where, you're a little flustered by the situation, and feeling, to watch out for your own lack of planning and your own lack of foresight. It really wants you to have more foresight this week. Really be methodical about that stuff. What's this guy have to tell me? Five of Pentacles. Yeah. So there's two signs here. This is about often, it's Pentacles, so it can be about finances and, what you spend in general, with your thoughts, with your feelings, with your literal money, with your time even. And it's telling you to watch out for a lack it's telling you to watch out for isolation and worry, and it's about a lack of mindset. And the universe is really reflecting this now, that they want you to be on the lookout for the loss in your life and possible financial problems and just problems with, your flow of all things giving and receiving that you can afford in your life. I get the sense, the universe gets the sense it's telling me you really feel like you've fallen from grace. You're not feeling so safe, and it knows that. And you might be feeling really emotional. It suggests, the Five of Pentacles also suggests the super bruised ego and feeling pretty bad. But the universal message is, it's autumn. It's autumn for you right now. And that, there's a reason for that. And this too shall pass. Um, And you're feeling a little left out too in the cold. Universe is showing me, when I pulled it, it showed me some, but it's showing me that you're feeling a little left out in the cold by sometimes the Five of Pentacles is two people huddling together in the snow and they are destitute. And you're kind of feeling this way a little bit right now. The universe knows that. But that maybe not to take it so personally. The people around you might be hurting you or disappointing you, but they could be busy. I'm hearing someone say they could be busy. It's not necessarily what you think it is. And it really wants to remind you with this card, with all this, you can't see it in this image, but, typically it's two people being left in the cold and being destitute. Financial crisis, financial poverty, feeling like you don't have a lot emotionally, with your thoughts, with your feelings, even with your literal money. And in that situation, feeling so depleted, so left out in the cold, the universe wants to remind you to not focus on what's going wrong and try to count your blessings when you're in this situation. And the overall message of this card, in particular for the Celestial deck and Eratinus, this fantastic constellation, which I've just met through this card, and I must look into Eratinus. But overall, that message of that constellation is change your mindset. And changing your mindset is where the answers are. The universe is saying through this constellation, change your mindset and count your blessings. You do have to pay attention to what and who is and isn't giving you support and that feeling, but that if you change your mindset about it, possibly, that's going to help and it's going to make a difference. Five of Wands. This card comes up for you twice in the reading, and you've got more wands. You've got lots of swords and lots of wands going on this week, Aries. And the Five of Wands, yeah, it's about inner conflict and conflict avoidance and really feeling tense. The universe is saying, oh gosh, we see all this tension in you, and that and it's really making you uncomfortable. And the universe is saying that you're really feeling like you're in a competition. It's about a battle of wills, and it's about lots of fighting and nobody listening. And to start listening, you have to rise above any chaos that's happening inwardly and outwardly, and that's the answer. To tune into the situation and open your ears and your heart. The answer is to stop the fighting and start listening. And that's how you're going to earn self-respect and respect. The universe wants you to know that that's the answer to that, to this feeling. And that if it's school and job, if it's a project, it's a family thing, if it's a family feud, or it's a feud between yourself, or a feud between yourself and other people, you want to avoid conflict and drama and be open-minded. And also be open-minded to some outside opinions too. This card really talks about, if it's coming through in a universal message, it's about opening up to an outside opinion. The opinions are all scattered and you're frustrated. But your job, Aries, if you're looking for a job in this situation, and Aries always is, it's very purposeful, is to identify the clear path. The universe is saying with Five of Wands to identify the clear path. And the way to do that is to have strategy and purpose, be open-minded, and be reasonable. Okay, so these are your messages for that. I think my phone's about to die, you guys. I always run out of juice for Aries. It's a little embarrassing. I don't know if that's coincidental or not. Let me pause for a second and plug in. Okay, I'm plugged in. I'm going to keep this cord out of the way. So the universe has spoken. You really need to open your heart, recognize this cycle, but also let love in, let passion. Some of you need to let romantic love in, even. I don't know why I'm not focusing here. You need to let some romantic love in, and writing and creativity. Um, and this Ace of Pentacles in reverse also, there's lack of planning here and foresight. You need to be on the watch for that too. And you need to really focus on, it's reflecting back to you this feeling of maybe being a little left out in the cold. You're afraid right now. But this too shall pass, and that you really need to count your blessings, okay? And that you really have to take control of this situation and be in charge and come up with a plan. Come up with something constructive here for yourselves. And it's about releasing tension. The universe really wants you to release this tension and this conflict avoidance. You're avoiding something here. You're really avoiding something. It's a lot. I know. The answer's in the love. Okay? It's in the love. So let's get to the major situation of the week of the 19th through the 25th here. Okay. Wow, this looks so much better. I'm so sorry, you guys. This really, I feel like I'm rushing you, and I don't want to because this is so heavy. And it wasn't all coming in clear for you before, but this is what you're feeling this week. This is who you're feeling like right now, and what you're going into the week feeling is this King of Swords. And the King of Swords is about mental clarity. And it's crazy because this is in direct opposition, sort of. I'm going to try and get to the bottom of it. I kind of have here. I need to flower somewhere, which I don't normally do at this reading, but I might have to because there's so much for you. This autumn energy and this creative romance is telling you to be in your heart and to open up and to be compassionate and not afraid. You're feeling bad. You're super in your feelings. The universe knows that. But you're feeling this week like you either want to be or you need to be this King of Swords. Yeah, which is about this mental clarity. So the King of Swords, with the mental clarity, it's also about truth. And seeing the truth. He's about the truth and seeing the truth. I don't know why I can't get my camera to focus right now. I'm really sorry, you guys. But the King of Swords is about an intellectual power too. And this week you're feeling like you really need to stand up for the truth and your truth and what you believe is right. This is deep. And it's happening on deeper levels in a lot of different places for you probably. But this is a week that you will be and want to be open to the truth, and you want to be objective. Your goal this week is really about being reasonable, objective. You're also feeling this need to detach a little bit and be impartial and clearly acknowledge the truth. But while you're also detached, a good ruler and king can be caring and sympathetic. And again, it's crazy because that's in direct, sort of seems like to be in direct conflict. And I know that some of you are on the cusp. There are at least two of you on the cusp, at least. And so this might be some of that Pisces energy pulling you, but you're really feeling like this week, like, yeah, that's all well and good. I hear you, universe, but I got to be this guy. I got to be reasonable, objective, impartial. But you also know that this is a week of really clearly acknowledging truths and getting to the bottom of truths while being caring and sympathetic. It's very much going to be a head versus heart kind of week. And you're feeling this pull already, because we feel the universe on a deeper level already. And you know that you've got some conflict coming in. The universe is already talking to you about it. So you're, before even knowing this or knowing it on a deep subconscious level, on a soul level, you're feeling like this week you really need to handle it like this guy. And you're really torn right now, Aries. Your higher self is saying one thing over here, But you here on earth, you're almost saying the opposite. And it can also be in a situation you're thinking about bringing a person like this into your life, maybe? Work and school, maybe? Job? Is this you or is this is you? But I think this also might be a person, another person influencing you. You're considering an influence. That's right. The King of Wands can be about a counselor or a mentor coming into our lives. Um, and they seem you're feeling detached this week, feeling like you have to attack this week with some detachment. But you're also feeling like some of your counselors and teachers, people that you turn to, are being a little detached and impartial as well. And that you're going into the week wanting this from yourself and from someone else or other people. You know, the universe is. Okay, yes. Okay. Oh, God, your guides are all loud, you guys. Aries with your loud ass guides. They're saying, okay, look, you can listen to your counsel and you can be reasonable and detached, and they're going to be unreasonable and detached, and that might bug you and maybe even hurt your feelings. Who is this? Um, but they have to be, and you have to be, in order for, you know, you to see reason and to get through your week. You really feel like you have to be this guy, or you have to go and get this good advice so you can. And a second opinion is what this card can be about. Um, and it's what you're looking for this week. Yes. Yeah, you're wanting some validation from somebody or something, and you want to feel it in yourself. Make sure you or this other person advocate for yourself and your heart and your whole life in general. Okay? Yeah, that's what's going on there. So, what's influencing you? Some people say what's crossing you. I don't say what's crossing you. It could be something crossing you, but it could be a positive thing, and positive things don't cross us. If you feel like something positive is crossing you, or something that's healthy for you is crossing you, you're really backed up about something. So it could be a cross or just an influence. Either way, the influence is the Page of Wands. And this card, what's really influencing you this week in the Page of Wands is you're thinking about redirecting your energy, and you're thinking about your self limiting beliefs. And holy shit, for 3 of my 5 Aries, limiting beliefs, issues with your self beliefs, and letting go of them has been an issue. It's still continuing this week, guys. You're still going through this, Aries. And I know it's a lot, but especially for anyone that's on the cusp, and I know at least 2 of you are big time, that you are going to deal with your deeper limiting beliefs, even in your current situations. You know? Yeah. And, but you need to look at your limitless potential too. That's right. Because the Page of Wand can be about your limiting beliefs, but also, your limiting beliefs in reverse, but in the upright, your limitless potential. And that's you're thinking about that too, and that's influencing you. You're also feeling like this week what's getting you to this place and what's impacting your ability to get to this guy, being this guy, you know, the King of Swords, is you're feeling kind of free of a situation in certain ways, but you still feel like you can't let go and can't ignore it. You want to ignore it though, but you have to address it, because yeah, the Page of Wands is a herald. Sometimes he's singing, and this deck he's not. You can't ignore it. You have to address it, and you have to trust your gut. And this head balance, this pragmatic in your head. Have your heart balance too. You're feeling free of some stuff. You're still dealing with it. Creative restlessness, yes. Maybe give into that creative side a little bit. Might help. Might help you be a more benevolent ruler here. But this is bugging you. Something's bugging you, and things are up in the air for you about some stuff. You're feeling like you don't have a solid plan. The Ace of Wands is about not having a solid plan. And that came out up in here too. And you want to grow, but that you might need help, which is why this guy might be a second opinion. Or feeling like you need help or deeper help. Try meditating, okay? If you don't feel like this is a person you're trying to get counsel from, you can get counsel from yourself. I've mentioned to a few Aries in the past, very recently, you're your own best teacher and your own best leader. You can create your own solid plan and get advice from yourself because you want to grow. You feel like you need help. Ask your soul for help if you don't feel like this is a person that you can ask for help. And what's influencing you is a curiosity as well about other things. I don't know what. I don't know. I'm not an Aries. Open up to that curiosity and make a plan. Okay, it's not as destitute as you think. It just feels that way. Open up to possibilities and feel curious. This card can also talk about you've been considering recently learning something new. Again, it's also about looking for a mentor. So we've got a mentor card, and you feel like you need a mentor, you feel like you need help, and you're thinking about it as well. Wow. Yeah. That's a ton. That's a ton. So, seated in the past. In this part of the deck or the spread, I really refer to this as the seat of the last cycle you were in. So this card is crowning you. It's the overall vibe for this week and the beginning of this new cycle of the week, this new moon cycle, this new cycle you're going into. This is the crowning feeling you have. This is the crowning feeling of the seat of the last cycle you were in. Six of Swords in reverse. Okay, so first of all, Aries, this is not the Tower. It's not the Tower in reverse. So it's not horrific, but in your recent, the seat of the past cycle was you were making plans, and all the plans you were taking action on came to a halt. Because this is often about a trip and you're going somewhere. Look, she's going. My phone's not focusing. But Six of Swords is about, going, and it's in reverse. Things came to a halt for you in your last cycle. And you feel like you left something behind. Yeah. And what is it? You worked really hard to let go of something last cycle. I'm feeling like this happened for you in the last couple weeks. Like you've worked really hard. You've been trying to let go of something in this last cycle. And it's several things, actually. It's more than one thing. Especially for the cuspers, it's more than one thing with you folks. And when Six of Swords comes up in reverse, this is about something very intensely, deeply personal. This is a journey. You're having an intense last month, last cycle. The seed of it felt like a very intense personal journey. And that you've spent a large part of this last moon cycle working on release from old patterns, old situations, old relationships. No matter where you want any of them to go, you've spent the last couple weeks in this last moon cycle in particular trying to release whatever this is that just screeched you to a halt. And you're looking for something new. You want a new perspective and you want a new situation, but you're reluctant. This is the movement and the going. In reverse, it's stopped. Last cycle, the overall feeling was you're reluctant to move, you're reluctant to change. Last cycle, recent cycle, you felt really pushed out of your comfort zone and really resisting and feeling backed into a corner. And the reverse, sometimes it shows that her wand is hitting the dirt and going into it. It doesn't in this card. But she's surrounded by all these swords. They're encapsulating her, they're trapping her, and she's reluctant to move forward. And while you've been working on releasing this pattern, but you've been left feeling stuck. But you know that that's necessary for growth. It's about lots of unresolved conflicts too. Six of Swords in reversed is about unfinished business. And you want to move forward, but not really. You're feeling super reluctant, but that's the answer. And the overall message as well of this card when it shows up anywhere, it doesn't matter where it shows up. The Six of Swords in reverse says, yes, you're feeling stuck, but it will get better. You just have to use your head, okay? You have to use your head. Yes, and especially you have to use your head to get out of this feeling too, of this destitute, like just not having enough. But you also have to be creative and use your heart. Maybe the answer, because this is recent, but it's not so recent. And your very recent past, yeah, we've got the Seven of Wands here. It's so crazy. I just had to pause again. First, my phone almost ran out of battery. And then my laptop that pulls up all the moon cycle information, that gives me information about that I can tap into, started to die too. And now I know why. It's like the universe is really reflecting to me, even in my energy here, in my home, in my sacred space, this feeling. This is your recent past. And it's what's really propelled you to need to be this guy. So, recent past is the Seven of Wands. This is about a mental competition and feeling really challenged mentally and to be forced to think in your recent situation. And all these wands are kind of pointed at him, and he's caught very off guard and unaware. And he's he's often in this card can often be depicted where he has two different shoes, like he had to put on two shoes that were on two different color, two left feet at the same time, because all these wands are coming at him. And he's like, he's got to defend himself. But this is kind of, it's not that this isn't necessarily the situation, because these aren't, it's not that you're imagining it. This is just really about how you're feeling, because these aren't swords, okay? These are wands. Can they do damage? Yeah, but they're not swords. But you've been recently left feeling like you're very challenged, and you're having to fight for yourself in a couple different aspects of your life. And it's if it's not in more than one way, if it's like a career or familial dynamic or a group or school dynamic, you feel like you're really being challenged, and your authority and your expertise and what you think you know is true has recently been challenged. And it can be a very personal situation, and it really caught you off guard. And this last cycle and the cycles even before it, I've noticed with Aries, you've come into the last couple cycles feeling, this card has come up more than once for you folks. You've been feeling really unprepared. and really forced into a situation. And it also suggests sometimes that you feel like you have to stop a situation. And you don't see that, but it's not reflected here, but it is in the deeper definition of the card. You know, you felt like you had to stop a situation. You felt like you had to stop and take back and step back and assess. And that's what the Ace of Pentacles has been telling you to do too. And the Five of Wands, which is up here again. We'll get to him again there too. But, you know, holy camole, you really felt like caught off guard, really forced into some of these situations. And now you're being forced to stop and take pause and turn around and assess it and deal with it in your recent past. But you're feeling a little bit more confident about it and competent. Confidence and competence, you know, right now, this week with the King of Swords. But yeah, caught off guard. I might have to flower. It's pretty self-explanatory. A feeling of being overwhelmed, lots of disharmony if it's about a group situation. If you're going into a group project at work or school, folks, I know a couple of my areas are doing group projects, and a couple of you are having relationship issues too. Overall, you're feeling a lot of disharmony and dysfunction in some of your stuff. But, you know, it's your job, Aries, to be a leader sometimes. And this is your like, whoa, I had to stand up and deal with this. And you're going to try this week with this King of Swords. And this maybe asking the second opinion or going deeper inside yourself and being a herald, speaking up. You want to be this messenger. So many personal things. It could be career, it could be school, could be friends, could be personal relationships. Yeah, it's a lot. That feeling, you know, yeah, feeling stuck, feeling like you have to fight, feeling like you really got to be detached in your head. This week, you're like, all right, look, if I'm going to get through all this, if I'm going to get through this feeling of being destitute and feeling like I have to take charge and make a plan and get to this creativity and feel unstuck. And even more recently, you know, these two are so, you know, this is the six and the seven. You got a lot of 5, 6, 7s, a real progression here. You got fives. Yeah, fives. It's doubled again. You got a 6, you got a 7. You're going through this feeling. And it could be many things. But overall, it caught you unaware. You know, this card usually is about a guy being woken up in the middle of the night like, holy shit, they're coming for me, and now I gotta fight. And I don't want to. That's the recent past. The crowning feeling for the week. You're going into this week being this guy, needing deeper support from yourself or something.